Have you ever heard of the statement, "Put God first"? If you have heard of it before, how often do you live by it? When you have to make a major life decision, do you consider God on top of the list or below the list? What happens to a house built with only sand? It'll crumble and come to nothing. What if a house is built with strong bars and cement? It'll hold firm even with time. This is what happens when you put God first in your relationship. It cements the bond between you and your partner and helps you overcome challenges that may come your way over time. As Christians, we've been called out to live a different type of life. This means in all we do, we must put God first, including in our relationships. For you to put God first in your relationship, you must first know who can be the right spouse for you. You can't put God first in a relationship where you're not with a godly person. To make God the priority in your relationship, you must ensure that your spouse is someone who has the desire to please God in their relationship. Ensure that your partner is also a godly person so that you can serve God and be happy. When you choose a partner based on your desire to serve and fellowship with God, then you're putting God first in your relationship. And that would make the relationship strong because you both can now serve and worship God together in harmony and love. It won't be a battle against each other when it's time to serve God. This basic understanding and a mutual desire to serve God would make your relationship work. When your relationship focuses on God, then it most likely would last rather than not. Your intimacy with God would produce a sort of firm intimacy with your partner. When you and your partner pray together, you both would experience God together and can have the ability to overcome any challenge that comes your way. Your ability to overcome and win over battles in your relationship has a lot to do with the amount of prayer and time and fellowship you both have spent with God. When you focus on God's Word and you're studying and meditating on it, it'll sharpen your relationship to always be in a place where you both are pleasing God. Reading and sharing the Word from time to time in your relationship will help the relationship to be firm and rooted in God's Word. It'll also help the spiritual growth of each individual in the relationship and further strengthen your bonds towards each other. Placing God first in the relationship will help you both create an atmosphere that is filled with love, kindness, self-control, patience, and other things that are needed to make a relationship work out. When you put God first in the relationship, things like these will flow out of you and your partner naturally, and you'll begin to love and treat each other better. God's presence in the relationship will tighten your hearts towards each other in pure love and understanding. This sort of atmosphere will also prevent you both from having premarital sex and will keep the relationship pure. If you put God first in your relationship, it'll work. Putting God first means that you let Him have the final say in the relationship. This means that you're loving God with your heart, soul, and strength despite being in a relationship. For you to put God first in your relationship, you must first have a personal relationship with Him, and also remember that God's love is over you. This knowledge would give you the understanding of placing Him at the center of your relationship. Remember that when you put God first in all things, every other thing shall follow. Make your relationship a three-membered relationship between God, your partner, and yourself. With God, bring the first person. A God-centered relationship is selfless. It is regarded as pure and sacred, and so it would be treated with utmost care and respect. This means that you and your partner will treat each other with pure and gentle love. When you found a person who brings you closer to God, you both should continue to get close to God and depend on Him in your relationship. When you and your partner are focusing on God, it'll help you both to feel secure in your walk with God. Strong spirituality will help you to be strong physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Placing God first in your relationship can help you both to heal from previous hurts from previous relationships, and it can also help you both forgive each other quickly and move on better without bitterness in your relationship. If you want to have assurance of a long and lasting relationship with your partner, then you both should put God first in your relationship. Make sure you both love God the most, because when you love God, you can have His attributes, which will help you both to handle the relationship properly. Don't get lost in emotions between you two. Remember, your first love is God. While emotions can be very amazing, you must remember that God loved you first. You both must continue to put God first in the relationship. Before your spouse said yes, or before you were proposed to, God had chosen you and separated you from the crowd. So let this reality always put things in order in your life. Continue to put God first even in the relationship. You must worship and serve God first, and always make sure He's the priority. This is the foundation of a lasting relationship. When you put God first, you would learn how to properly love your partner. Don't be tempted to put your spouse in a position that God doesn't hold in your life. If you do this, you're only putting them in a position that they can't fulfill. They can't meet up with all of your expectations. You will only be hurt and angry if you make your partner the source of all your fulfillment and emotional support. They will only let you down because they're human. Rather put God first, and God will teach you both how you properly love each other. Putting God first is not something we do because we want to get something in return. It's something we do because it's the very blessing. Putting God first in every area of our life is always the best thing to do. If your relationship doesn't place God as your priority, then it will crumble under the many weight of needs that you're placing on your partner. You must recognize that your partner cannot fill that hole you're feeling in your heart. However, God can fill it. If you place this pressure on your partner, the pressure will crush the relationship. Putting God first will help your relationship to last and be strong. When you both put God first in your relationship, you would enjoy the relationship between you both rather than killing it with expectations that your partner cannot meet. In the end, things always work out best when we use them the way that God intends us to. So continually place God in the center of your relationship so that He will continually give you both direction and wisdom on the right things to do. A godly relationship is a blessing, however. If you let it take God's place in your life, it will take away the true source of joy from your life. When you both put God first, you both will learn to treat each other in the best ways. When you make God the focus of the relationship, you both would learn that loving someone truly means loving them unconditionally. If you make God the priority in your relationship, you would always have reason to love your partner, even when they seem unlovable. The love in the relationship won't be based on your partner's ability to merit such love, but rather a love that has been conditioned by God's love and has learned how to love unconditionally. This sort of love is the type that can win over the battles in a relationship. There would be so much kindness, love, self-control, temperance, and meekness in the relationship that the relationship would be healthy and full of love, even when you both are going through hard times. God's presence in your relationship will make your relationship work. God will continually bless you both so that you can build together and serve Him together. We cannot love other people without first loving God. The more we interact with God and acknowledge His love for us and other humans, the more we can truly love our partner. When you put God first in your relationship and rely more on Him for your emotional fulfillment, then you will experience a sort of leave that transcends circumstances, even unpleasing situations in the relationship. As Christians, we ought to always put God first in all things that we do, even in our relationships. The reason why many relationships or marriages have lasted so long is that the foundation and priority in the relationship are God. God's presence teaches individuals to love their partners better and helps them get through the hurdles in their relationship.